So in this video we are going to provision our CSR router, so which is my data center 2 via the CLI. So CLI commands are a little bit complicated in here because there are a lot of bindings to the tunnels. Now CSR and the C8000V, both of them are belong to the same family, that is iOS XE. And also when we are creating the template, we will create a feature template, and this feature template can be used for the CSR, C8000 as well as for the ISR and the ASR. So any device which is running iOS XE, that feature template can be assigned to that particular device. So when we come to the templates, definitely I will explain, but yes. So iOS XE feature templates can be shared across those families. So let's configure the DC2 for our CLI via the CLI. So first let me go to the event G and get the port number for that one, 32781. I will say DC2. Alright, so by default the image will be not in a SD-wan mode, it will be an autonomous mode. So we need to enable the controller mode. So before we enable the controller mode, so if I say show version, so you see that I am running the version iOS XE 17.3.4.a. Alright, so that is the version I am running in. So I need to change this device into a controller mode. So I will say config T and I will say controller, otherwise it should be on the controller mode enable. So it's like you see that controller mode enable, disable or reset. So we will go with enable. That means this current image will be changed to the SD-wan image. After that we can start configuring the CLI. Okay, so let's click on enter, confirm, and the device should now reboot. So you say that you want to abort this operation. I will say no, because it is looking for the configuration file like day 0, root certificate and everything. That's fantastic. So what I will do is that first I will abort it. Now I will continue with that one. I don't want to abort it. So let that image turn it to SD-WAN, and after that we will start configuring it. Right, so the router has been now rebooted. Now it is asking you for the username and password. So by default it will be admin and admin. It should ask you for the new password. So I will say mois123 hash. So I've entered the new password. Now I am in the SD-WAN mode. So if I say show controller mode, now so there is a command to see the controller mode, but currently if I say config T, it will not work because it is now in the SD-WAN zone. So in the SD-WAN, config T does not work, so we have to say config transaction, and that's where it will go to the config mode. So you can say hostname, that should be DC2. Okay, so now you see that when I say hostname DC2, it did not change the hostname, but usually in the normal CLI, it will change it. So you need to issue the command like commit. So once it has been commit, now it is being changed. So we are in SD-WAN mode now. So again with the system, again we will say that system IP will be 100.0.0.102. So if I go back to my topology, system IP is 100.0.0.102. Site ID is also 102. So I will say site ID will be 102. And we do have organization name, that is sysbal, and we do have vbond, that is 20.1.1.3, and exit. Next, commit. Now this is where things become little bit of complicated. how we configure the interfaces. So if I say that do show IP interface brief, so it doesn't work. So I say show IP interface brief in the privilege mode. So I should see all the interfaces. Config transaction, important interface, gigabyte 1. We will press enter and we will say no shut first. Then I will say IP address 220.1.102 slash, used to write to slash 24, but now here it's normal iOS XE. We have given the IP address, we said no shut, that's all good, but we have to bind this one, we have to make this interface because it is a transport interface, means it should be a tunnel. So that's why we have to create a tunnel. So we have to say that exit interface tunnel 1. So you see that all capital letters, so case sensitive. IP unnumbered, and that interface name, that is gigabyte. You're binding that tunnel to that interface indirectly, and tunnel source will be gigabyte and tunnel mode will be SD-wan. So exit. So what you are saying is that first you configure the IP address, so interface gigabyte 1, and you provided no shut, and you given assign the IP address, exit out for the interface. Then again you have created a new tunnel interface 1, and you said IP unnumbered. You're not assigning any IP, but you are indirectly assigning that interface, binding that interface to the tunnel 1. Now making the tunnel as a SD-WAN tunnel. After that, still there is one more thing left, that is interface tunnel 1. You will say no shut down. So from no shut, we are now coming to the SD-WAN commands that are no shutdown and IP unnumbered, and I think gigabyte. So we'll select this gigabyte 1. It should be exactly the name, so that's what the problem is. I think we have given this one, not this one. It should be interface tunnel 1, uh, not interface, that should be in SD-WAN. I will say interface gigabyte 1. I will say that tunnel interface encapsulation will be IPsec and color will be business internet. Allow services will be all, and allow services will be net config, allow services will be SSHD, and exit. So it's a little bit tricky over here. So first we create it. So let me write down the command so that it will be easy. So first we say that interface gigabyte 1, then we said no shut, then we have given IP address to 20.100.1.2.102, and after that we exit out, and in the after that we have interface tunnel 1, and in interface tunnel 1 we said no shut down, we said IP unnumbered, then again gigabyte 1, then we said tunnel source will be gigabyte 1, and tunnel mode we said SD-WAN, we said exit. After that we issued the SD-WAN command, then again we said that within that SD-WAN we said interface gigabyte 1, uh, which will be a tunnel interface, and we want to encapsulate. Encapsulation will be IPsec and color will be business internet, and we will say allow service all, allow service netconf, and allow service SSHD. So case sensitive, be careful with that one. And that should be all good. Exit and commit. So that's what we have done. So let's do the same thing for the interface gigabyte 2, which is my MPLS. I will say tunnel number 2. That should be gigabyte 2, and gigabyte 2. The color will be MPLS. Alright, so two interfaces have been created. Now, what we have to do is that now we have to assign an IP default gateway. So I cannot assign two default gateways in this one, so I can assign only one. So what I'm going to do is that I will assign it in the MPLS. All right. Okay, now same thing goes with the what do we say, management also, because let me, otherwise what I will do is that copy this whole thing, because we do not require encapsulation. So interface gigabyte 8 150.1.7.51/24. I will go with 51, and this one should be tunnel number 8, bounded to 8 and 8. SD-wan interface will be 8. And again, we do not require tunnel interface, but yes, I will remove the color. We do not require for management. That's fine. That's all good. So there is only one IP route. So let me go ahead and copy paste this much part first. No mistakes, that's correct. Then I will go ahead and paste this much. Awesome. And I will paste the final piece. Then again we will configure the interface 8. So I do have a little bit confidence now, so I will just paste it. That's where the problem is now. To say interface. So first I will exit out from this one. So I will say interface. So be careful where you are defining your interface. No shut. IP address will be 150.1.7.51. That should be 255.255.0. My mistake, not /24. And exit. Now we will commit. Okay, so once we committed, we got the tunnels coming up. That's okay. So we will exit out and we will say show IP interface brief, and now we should see 1, 2, and this one. Fantastic. Now if I say ping 150.1.7.2, I should be able to ping my interface. That's okay. Now let's start with the TFTP server. So in this TFTP server, this is my management. Select that one. And now I do also have root certificate in here. So I have already got my root certificate in here from the vmanage. So I will use the same, using the TFTP server, I will upload that certificate and I will install that certificate. So I will here, I will say that copy TFTP to boot flash 150.1.7.1. That should be rootca.cer, enter, and that's it. So it should download that TF file from the TFTP, and after that we are now going to install that one. So show boot flash, and in the boot flash at the bottom I should see somewhere rootca.cer. Okay, so we are going to install that certificate now. So we will say that request platform software SD-wan root certificate chain install. That should be boot flash rootca.cer file. Click enter, and now it should install that certificate. Successfully installed. Let's go back to the vmanage now. Let's go back to the configuration certificate, and let's get one CSR router active. So all of them are inactive for right now. So click on OK. So if I go back to my vbond, if I enter the command, you see that all of them have been valid, but there is no CSR. So let's send those details now. So once the details have been published to all the controllers, we should see that serial number, one extra serial number, and this one chassis number. Now let's copy the serial number, chassis number. Let's go back to the DC2, and here we will say request platform software SD-wan VH Cloud activate chassis number, then token. Let's go back to vbond, copy the token, paste it over here, and enter. So now what this should do is like go back to the certificate now, and I should see very soon the data center 2 showing up over here. Right, you see that data center 2 is showing up. So it should now start generating the CSR, and also it should issue the certificate and install the certificate and complete the onboarding process. Alright, so certificate has been issued. That's good news. Let's go back to the configuration and devices. And over here you see that still I'm waiting for the site ID. So okay, once the site ID is being shown, then our onboarding is being complete. Okay, CSR routers and CH8000 we will take a little bit time. Okay, so we got 102, that's all good. Now let's go back to the dashboard VPN. I should see now 6 WAN edge devices, and all of them are up and running. So I hope this was informative for you, and thank you.